Hi, this is Reg Athwal and welcome to our channel and another one of our shows on family business experts where I get a chance to interview an expert or an entrepreneur that can give us their insights, their words of wisdom that can help you at either a family level, a business level, or ideally both. And today I've got a real rock star, okay? I call him a rock star. He's a legend. He speaks around the world. He's addressed millions of people around the world, large audiences, and he's an expert when it comes to celebrity service. More than that, Mr. Geoff Ram is going to talk to us today, not just about celebrity service, but with the crisis today, how do you ensure that you welcome people back in the right way? Now, in terms of formal things about Geoff, really briefly, outside of being an expert in customer service, his clients include Warner Brothers, McDonalds, IHG, and Emirates Holidays. He deals with the biggest brands in the world. His ideas and techniques inspire audiences across the world to create that gap in their service and experience that they've never knew was possible and existed before. So on that note, it's an absolute pleasure and welcome to the show, Geoff.
Thank you so much, Reg. How are you? How are the family?
Our family is great, thank you. Thanks for asking, and I hope you're doing well in the UK there under your semi-lockdown restrictions, probably not as serious as it's been in probably our part of the world for the last 3 months, but we are glad to be back out again.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. It's great to see you again.
Now, I know I've only got limited time with you, Geoff, because you're booked every day, virtually these days for now. But when it comes to customer service, why do so many companies just completely ruin the customer experience and don't even understand the basic principles of providing great service?
You know what? As a customer, as a passenger, as a member, as a client, we just want the basics. Sometime, Reg, we just on time. You know, when you said it's going to be at 2 o'clock, it's somewhere near 2 o'clock. We want the right product at the right price at the right time. And if there's a smile on somebody's face as they're doing it, we're over the moon.
So Geoff, what happens then in Africa, Middle East, and Asia markets where we say, oh, that's Dubai o'clock or Mumbai o'clock, and we know that 2 o'clock means 3 o'clock.
I'll make an exception just for you, just for this once. Yeah. But you know what? You said that how do we get things so wrong? Yeah. Nobody ever sets out with growing a business, developing a brand to say let's be bottom of the pile for customer experience. And yet every single year there is a list of companies globally.
Yes.
For Dubai, for the UK, but also a global brand of the worst performers. And they don't set out like that, but decisions are made, whether we move that there, where we cut a corner there, and if we can save an extra few pennies or dollars there, we will take it. And quite often it's how can we deliver a greater experience?
So do you think, Geoff, can I ask you, do you think maybe before the crisis in 2020 with COVID-19, let's say people in 2018, 2019 dealing with their customers, do you think the market was a little bit forgiving? So, you didn't have to go out of your way to give the best customer service and people will still buy from you. Then this has happened this year and woken things up. And now customers going, well, actually, you know what? This is important to me of how you're dealing with me. Yeah. So people people's brands are being impacted, and the truth is now coming to the surface, which is, you know what, your customer service was never good in the first place. What do you think?
Yeah, do you know what? Over the last few months, I suppose in a nice but also quite a cynical way, brands have been exposed. Some major brands, but also some smaller brands, have been exposed to what they've said or what they've done in a crisis. Yes. What have they done for their staff? What have they done for their team? What have they done inevitably for the customers? And they've been exposed in a great way. There's some brands that have done some really wonderful things, some nice touches, and really went out the way to help and support. And there's others that have tried to almost profiteer.
So can I ask you then, Geoff, there's going to be different clients, if I could refer to it as, and people you've dealt with over the year, from small businesses all the way up to global global brands. So if I could refer to the sort of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, if you've got tier 1 would be the big global brands, tier 2 is typically medium-sized businesses, and then you've got bottom of the pyramid, the real smaller companies. So if we start off with the basics, and it doesn't matter sort of what level you're at, what are top 3 things one should consider as a business owner? 3 key things they should do to start or get the foundation right for providing great service.
First of all, a bit like charity, Reg, it starts at home. Celebrity service also starts at home. Okay, so before we start to think about delivering a greater service experience through celebrity service externally to customers, clients, passengers, members, have we got a great internal system to look after our staff? Are we creating the greatest culture, I suppose, for service excellence? And one of the things I would say there is, and we'll come on to this later on in the call, is are you asking your team right now for this welcome back, the strategy for celebrity service? Have you asked them in this lockdown period, when you come back and when we get back up to full speed, what can we do as a business, as an organization, to make this the greatest experience for you? First thing, for any business of any size, even tier 1, 2 or 3, are we spending this time right now creating a better environment, creating a better culture, and say to them, how can we make this? And just put one idea on an email or a slip of paper. Give us one idea in which we can make a greater experience for you. And I promise you, Reg, the ideas that people will write will cost next to nothing.
So what I'm understanding, Geoff, then from what you're saying, it sounds very simple, but it's probably not, which is, tell me if this is right or wrong. You're saying to me, if you've got happy staff, right?
Yes.
So happy staff, people who love working for your company, your brand, not grumpy, moaning, they come to work, everyone going, I love working here. And that's the culture that should automatically spill over to the customer. But if you've got the opposite happening, you've got people who will not care, is that right? Who will not go out of their way to create a celebrity service for the customer.
You build the foundations, Reg. You build the foundations first. Can I share a wonderful story with you?
Please do, yeah.
Okay, I want to share this. So we're clients of each other, okay? Here's a question here, first of all, Reg, okay? What have Disney, Apple, who else should I choose? Disney, Apple, I'll come back to the others. There's another 2. Disney, Apple.
Netflix?
Think of the most Google. Wonderful place to work. Google, yes, Google. Anything else? Where else would
this would be an interesting case study. What about historically, Virgin has been a great place to work?
Yeah. So if you took those brands, and when I ask audiences, who would you love to work? If you had to leave here, who would you love to go and work for? Where would be the happiest place to go and work? And I often hear the names of Apple and Google and Lego. Lego's another one.
Lego.
And Disney. Because it's a fun, you would think it was a fun place to work. And I say, why would you want to work there? And so, I don't know. I think it would be great. You think it would be great, or it would be great. I think it would. Why? And so, but there's a perception. There's a perception that would be a great place to work. And I said, wherever you think is a great place to work, that's great. Let me show you, or let me share with you one business here in the UK that I have seen as I've got the happiest staff in the world. And I've worked with many, many brands all over the world, Reg. This blew me away. It's a call center, and it's a brand called Moneypenny.
Okay.
So Ed and Rachel.
Good name.
this is I mean, any James Bond movie, it's just a great business name. So it was set up by Ed and Rachel, who were siblings. So it's a family-run business.
Fantastic.
And it's a call center in Wrexham, in North Wales. And I say to audiences around the world, it's a call. No, it can't be. It's got to be Disney. I said, Disney might be good, but for me.
What have they done? What's special about this family business and what they've done?
So they moved. So the business is 20 years old. They set up in 2000. The business moved a few years ago to a brand new state-of-the-art headquarters. As they were building it, as the builders were creating it, as they asked the staff, with a piece of paper. They said, "We're moving into a brand new headquarters. It's going to be amazing. But we want to create a greater experience for our clients. But before we do that, what would you love for us to do for it to be the greatest place for you to work, for you to deliver a greater level of service?" And the staff just wrote ideas on a piece of paper. Here's some of the ideas. Now, when I do this on the Wealth,
so it wasn't a 25% increase in salary.
There was nothing like that mentioned, Reg. Nothing. I want to show you. I'll tell you some of the things, right? So it's a big story that I tell. I'm going to show you a few. As you walk in, so it's like Star Trek doors. You walk in, and then the second doors into the main reception. On the left-hand side, on the wood-panelled walls, there's a etched into the wood. It said, "This is dedicated to all of the staff that have made Moneypenny what it is today." Nice. Okay. And then on the wall, as you zoom back, there are thousands of names of the people who've worked there since day one, the people who've made a difference. Reg, if you work there for a month or 6 months, your name is etched into the wood. You were part of the foundations. It is stunning. Imagine you've been working there. You go into work, and there you are on the part of the business forever. It's incredible. When you go inside, there's all sorts of things that they've done, Reg. And one of the things that they've got is called the Mojo Wall. The Mojo
Wall. Okay. By the way, I'm curious. Like all the pictures behind you, then is that part of all the people who've worked with you?
I wish. I'll come on to this. I promise I'll come on to this. Yeah. So the names of the teams are on the left-hand side, etched into the wood. It's stunning. When you go in, there's an iPad, a little coffee, order your coffee, tea on the iPad, so you press the button. It's a great piece of technology. But beside the iPad are some cups, drinks. But the cup, they're all branded, and it's got a cup of happy. That's all it says, cup of happy. It's coffee, it's tea, right? But it's called cup of happy. And I say to businesses all over the world, I say, "Are your cups happy in your office?"
Nice, yeah. And
they say, "No." I said, "You've got miserable cups, haven't you? You got miserable cups."
But what's good, Geoff, with what you're saying already, these are not expensive things to do, are they? These are
no. But it's for the people working there, their name is on there. They've got wonderful cups that they can smile to. The Mojo Wall is something else. So, Reg, you and I work there, our name's on there, great, but there must be something that you've done. There must be something that you've done for a client, you've gone way and above, and do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reward Reg by putting him on the Mojo Wall. So there might be something that you've done for a client, something you've done over the phone, something you've helped them with. You've gone that extra further, and I'm going to print what you did professionally. I'm going to mount it and I'm going to put it onto the wall. And there are thousands of examples of staff, named staff, who have done extraordinary things. And when you're walking up the stairwell, when you're walking down the corridors, you are just being reminded of what great looks like. And it's a different culture. Reg, here's a final one for you. Do you know on that piece of paper when people said, "What would you like in your brand new state-of-the-art headquarters?" Somebody wrote, "Any chance we can have a pub?" So they built a bar. They built this huge area inside the business, but it's a place where people...
Was that to boost productivity then?
Well, yeah, nobody leaves. Nobody leaves. Do you know what? It's stunning. I've got so many examples.
But is that why, Geoff, is that why people, the Googles of the world, the Apples of the world, the Facebooks, I remember going to LinkedIn's head office in Dubai a few years ago, and I thought it was a playground. No offense for anyone from LinkedIn watching this, but I thought, it was a playground. I said, there was a guy on a scooter that zoomed past me. And I said, yeah, but people don't want to leave. They love it here. And so it was almost like a contradiction where people were having fun and enjoying themselves. And it seemed like they weren't working. But in reality, they were.
Yeah. I've seen. I mean, you see the documentaries, and they're all playing pool and the 10-pin bowling, and you're thinking, what, are they getting any work done?
Yeah, and but also we work with a lot of family business clients around the world where, whether you like it or not, they could be classed as being in boring industries. You could have a manufacturing plant, making
Reg, this is
whatever.
a call center.
Yeah.
This is taking incoming calls. Now, they answer all my incoming calls from my website, from my office number. So I have it on permanent divert. They are brilliant. It's not something that I would say was a playground, but it's something that when you go in and you walk around every corner, you smile. You just smile. Somebody also wrote, is there any chance we can make the toilets look a little bit more homely? So the doors on the cubicles and the toilets, they look like front doors of a home. It's these little touches. You don't have to go around on a zip wire, for 6 hours of the day to get productivity up. Very quickly, and we'll talk about staff being loyal and wanting to stay and wanting to stay there. The left-hand side of the wall, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of names. On the right-hand side of the wall, there's also a list of names, and those are for the staff and the team members who have stayed there for 10 years. Wonderful. Who've been there and it adds up. There's a new name goes on every month. People don't want to leave. Yeah. And
it reminds me a bit of when you go into the entrance of a football club, or in the VIP area, and you see all the trophies and you see the pictures of all the legends of that football team. It's a bit like that, isn't it? That sort of experience.
Absolutely. The honours, the trophies, the legends, the people who've made the biggest appearances, they made a difference to that organisation.
Geoff, can I ask you, what would be the opposite? So what are the things that people do consistently, badly, the mistakes they make consistently in their culture that creates a really bad customer experience? What are the basic mistakes that happen over and over again that you see?
Time and time again, and I'm the world's worst to be frustrated. World's worst, and I don't think I'm the only person listening and watching this video now, Reg. We cut corners. We believe that the future is technology. Don't get me wrong, we're doing this in the UK and Dubai now. Isn't technology wonderful? Yes, but we are giving far too much in the hands of customer experience and a better client experience. We're giving far too much to technology, far too much to systems. I go on a website and there's a little chat bot in the bottom corner, and you ask, I can ask a question. Because I can't find it on your frequently asked questions, and I can't get through to your call center because guess what, you're closed, or it's a 25-minute wait. I haven't got time. So I'll use the chat bot. That's a great example of technology taking over human being, and a technology will never have heart.
I'm with you 100%. My mum used to always say to me, old is gold. She usually say to me that everything comes back round. And I'll never forget that. She was a hoarder, still is a hoarder, but that's a different conversation. But everything does come back round. I mean, if we're on these devices all the time, and I was having a debate with someone the other day, Geoff, about social media. We talk about customer experience using technology and through our social media brands. Well, okay, if you've got 100,000 people following you or 1 million people following you, how many of them have you actually spoken to? So how many of them have you actually engaged with? And I'm in this situation right now. I'd love to get your thoughts about, is it about quantity, brand linked to your customer service experience, or is it about quality? And is it about simple things like calling someone? How are you? What do you think?
This is about relationships for me, it's about relationships. Okay, I'll give you an example of what I do in terms of, was your mum said old is gold, and I'll give you an example of what I do, Reg, okay? So over a decade ago, can you remember e-newsletters? It's the future, Reg, e-newsletters. You get every one of your clients, shove them on your database, and then create a newsletter with updates and promotions and bits and things, and maybe it's a joke or a clip to a YouTube channel, right? You've got all this, and with a flick of a button, just that switch, 10,000 people get the same message.
Yes.
Now, 10 years ago, Reg, I know so many of us are still doing it. I understand why so many of us are doing it, because it will generate business for some, but it depends on the image and the brand and your own ethos and, dare I say, heart of how you want to display you and your message and your brand and your business. I ditched my e-newsletter a decade ago. Nobody's ever had anything for over 10 years from me. Wow. Do you know what I swapped it for?
What?
Postcards.
Good old postcards, eh? Old as gold.
Postcards. And what I do is I find a great piece of service, a great piece of experience. I type the story on the back. I handwrite to every client. I put a little airmail thing on the top, and I put a little stamp of the Queen's head. And it costs a fortune, and it takes forever. But it means the world when people get it.
Yeah, it's different and it sticks. I mean, you've been known for this with your brand around the world, where I remember, the first time I saw your brand, I saw OMG. Yeah.
Yes.
And used to do all these creative things. What was the most fun thing you ever did with OMG marketing? As an idea that just worked really well and was a bit outrageous and different.
I remember. Oh, what did I do? What did I do for my clients? What my clients have done, or myself? What would you like?
Either, both. Yeah, it's any one of those.
One of the best examples, and it actually came back to me. It was so Hayley and I have been married. We married 21 years in June of this year. Okay, and the only thing that we do is we give each other a Valentine's card. That's all. A Valentine's card. That's it. So we married 21 years. Valentine's card. We don't do the expensive, ridiculous flowers or the ridiculous meal out. We can do that any time of the year. But we just give each other a card. And this particular Valentine's Day, we swapped cards. That was great. And later that day, I was at home doing a video with my video guy, and Hayley came in. She'd just been out for the morning. She came in, and the postman had been. I hadn't heard the postman, and she passed over a magazine that I subscribed to, and also an envelope. And on the envelope, it had my name and address on, all handwritten. And I said, "Oh, thanks very much." And I just put it to the side. And she said, "Oh, I'm just going to make a cup of tea. I said, "Oh, that'll be great." And my colleague had a cup of tea. I had a cup of tea, and off she went. And I looked to the side, Reg, and I said, "Look, we've been working for a couple of hours. Let's have a break." And I looked to the side, and I thought, you know what? They could be bothered to write, so I'm gonna open it. So I picked up the envelope and I turned it over, and on the back it said SWALK, sealed with a loving kiss. Now I already have a card from Hayley. I'm thinking, who is this from? This is weird. Hayley was coming through, and I thought, oh my word, what do I do? So I hid it underneath the magazine, and it stayed there for 12 hours. At about 11:30 that night, my wife was asleep. I creep out of bed, I go into the next room, and I pull out the card, and I open it, and it's a Valentine's card. And when I opened it, it said, "We want to get closer to you, Geoff." And then all it was a handwritten www.closertome/Geoff. So this is a domain name. This is what? Oh my word! What is this? Is it a video? What is it? A video? What is it? So I turned the computer on. I put my foot against the door just in case anybody came in, and I typed it in. And what came on the screen was, ta-da! Surprise! And it was from a media company here in the UK, the Power Media Group. And it said, we want to get closer to you, Geoff. We wanted to send you something a little bit special on Valentine's Day. I was like, oh, I I've never been so relieved.
That is so good. That's such a great story and case study.
There was a competition on there. There was all the great things that they did. I rang up the sales director the next day and I said, Dominic, I said, I can't, and he put me on loudspeaker. He said, got you, because this is my client. And on the last day of December, the last conference I did in December, I challenged the entire team to create moments and experience moments that will get remembered for the next 30 years. They came up with a card, an envelope, they hand wrote it, but they put, and for all I'm saying, you know, let's ditch the e-newsletters and let's go back to postcards, but we can use both, Reg.
Right. Yeah, we
can use both. It's not all or nothing, use both. And then you go to the website, it was a great bit of fun, and I said, come on, tell me what happened. He said, you inspired us to come up with an idea, an OMG idea. He said, we've sent this out to 200 prospective clients, people who we want to sit in front of. I said, what's happened so far? He said, we've had over 73 responses in 12 hours. It's unheard of. So the stories that I tell in my talks and my conferences and, you know, live seminars, it can inspire people to think differently.
And on that note, so I don't forget, for those of you, you know, stick with us until the end. We've got some really good things we're going to be discussing with Geoff, but don't forget to go down to the description area. All of Geoff's details are there, you know, his website, geoffram.com, and all the other things linked with his brand. He does speak around the world now. It's obviously virtually right now until he can get back in those conference rooms and theaters. But whether it's 6 people in a room or whether it's 6,000 in a room, and you want to talk about customer service at the highest level, definitely reach out to Geoff. So Geoff, moving on.
Yeah.
In the last month or so, you've really been upping your game as well and updating, you know, your proposition, your experience of this welcome back, celebrity service. So I've got clients right now in the hotel business, for example. There's zero revenue. They've had to rethink about how they're using their rooms, but at some point they're going to be able to welcome guests back. Whether it's the airline industry, food and beverage industry, could you share a little bit about what you mean by welcome back celebrity service?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a bit like you, I work a lot in hospitality, Reg. I work a lot with clients and people who've got, you know, customer-facing clients as well and customers. So I work a lot in hospitality. Now, the welcome back strategy is this. Are we using this time right now to improve our guest experience, our client experience, for when we do get back to some form of normality, shall we say? Okay. Now, some businesses are still running 100%. Most aren't. Okay.
Yeah.
But are we using this time well to create a welcome back strategy? And I've related this back to Formula One, to be honest with you. Right now, Reg, a lot of us are in the pits. We've been in the pits for a few weeks or a few months. But we're slowly, country by country, sector by sector, coming back onto the grid.
Yes.
We're slowly coming back onto the grid at different parts of the grid. Some are at the front, some are at the back. But we're gonna start racing. And when that COVID flag comes down, are you going to race into that first corner with the same level of service you were delivering 3 or 4 months ago? Now, if it was exceptional and you were the number one in your field, brilliant. You've got a great chance of doing very well in this next race, in this next season. But did we spend the time? It's a question that I want to ask freely to everybody watching this video. Have you set yourself a celebrity service session with your team, with your directors now? Are you saying to them, and there's only one aim. The aim is, we want to create a greater experience for when we return. How are we going to do this? And we get the team together. So we can look at all of the things that we didn't do so well before. Now we can look at the TripAdvisor reviews. We can look at our own guest feedback, our own client feedback. There are clues there, Reg, about our supply system, about our quality of products, about our pricing, about our special offers. There are clues there in which, you know what, we've had a few months to put right. don't waste this time.
Yeah,
this is an opportunity to
because
create.
you won't get this back. You won't get this opportunity back. But also, I wanted to ask you. There is a little bit of an issue I've got with this welcome back thing. Not with what you're saying, but with what brands are doing out there right now. So if I take, for example, the travel industry, I won't mention who, but I received recently, the pack, and that pack, the e-version is basically a 40, 50-page PDF.
Yeah.
Mentioning that the airline is going to be opening up again and you'll be able to travel, and literally you go through these pages, page after page after page. It's overwhelming. It's like, okay, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, this is going to happen. And I was left by the end of it feeling I don't want to travel. There was nothing there coming out going, wow, welcome back. Yeah, the service is going to be great. Like a checklist that, we got to do these things, otherwise this, because of the virus. It wasn't about, I can't wait to travel again.
Are the customer experience directors, people, are the people on the ground, are they the ones creating this message? For me, they're not. That is like you say, it's a 50, and I know which one you're referring to. It's a 50-page PDF. I'm sorry, but after page 3, I'm gone.
Yeah.
But we live in a world. Let's go back to technology and how we should be using it. You and I are connecting, creating content, sharing with the world ideas, stories. We're doing this via video. There's nothing to stop any business creating that 2 to 3 minute video. This is what we're going to do. And the video, the music, and showing real life examples, rather than a 50-page PDF. That's a document that possibly customers and passengers should never see.
That's right.
But maybe there's something a little bit more of a greater connection on how we can deliver a greater service experience. Look, this is new for everybody, and I'm not going to criticize anybody for doing this, saying this. This is new for everybody, and I think we've got to be more sort of, I don't know, so we accept things for maybe the next 6 to 12 months. But I just believe that this is a huge opportunity.
So can we deep dive hypothetically, Geoff? Let's say you've got 2 restaurants, okay? Yeah. A and B. A is going to give you a phenomenal welcome back celebrity service experience, and B is not going to. With your world, with your experience, when you look at those 2, could you give us a glimpse of the image of what you see A doing as you walk in as a customer, and what B's doing?
Okay.
Which creates a badder experience. What's your thought? What do you see?
Well, the B category restaurant is basically every restaurant, okay?
Yeah.
Ish. But it kind of is. But let's say A is a favourite restaurant of your family. They should know you, Reg. They should know you. Now, back on their database, it shouldn't just be Reg Athwal. It should be favourite drink, favourite starters. There should be some little things there. Children's names. Have they got some details of that? Forget GDPR for a minute. Just concentrate on the heart element of delivering a greater service. For that restaurant to open up, Reg, what they do is they phone you first. They don't email you. They don't send you a text because they've already got your details because you're a good customer, a loyal customer. And they phone you up and say, Reg, we're opening back on the 19th of June. We would love to welcome you and your family back. We are safe. We've done everything we can.
Yes.
We're opening up on this day, not to the general public, but to our very best customers.
Our loyal customers. Yeah, I've been there frequently. Yeah.
You've just went, woof. You went, wow. Now you can't wait to get out because we can't wait to get out and for somebody to cook for us. And you say, fantastic. And you can pick a time. There are less tables in here, but that's fine. But we've got the table in this corner, and there's a table for 5 ready for you. And to welcome you back, there's a bottle of whatever it may be.
Yes.
They're on ice, waiting for you. Would you like to book that for the 19th of June, Reg? Yes, you would.
Yes.
Yes, you would. Okay. Yeah. So I could send you a 25-page booklet on PDF of how we pay contactless and all that type of stuff.
I actually prefer 50-page PDFs. They're a lot.
Oh yeah, it's the future. Yeah. But what we do is, but somebody calls you and makes it happen. Okay. Now what they do is when they arrive, there's not going to be the hugging and kissing and shaking hands like there was, but there's the bigger smile. They can't wait to see you. When you and your family sit down, there's a card. There's a card handwritten by the chef. Thank you so much for coming back. Yeah. This means a lot. It's not just a specials board, but I can really recommend the whatever it may be. But in the meantime, these little taster things that are on this tray is from me to you. Okay, it costs them next to nothing. But there's a card on there, and it just says, "We appreciate your business more than anything else."
Can I ask you, Geoff? You know what you're sharing is brilliant, and outside of being a professional platform speaker who inspires people and gives them ideas, and being a best-selling author, do you get invited into boardrooms or senior meetings to brainstorm and design some of these experiences?
Not as I'm mainly a speaker, mainly at events, but I do get to go into organizations, sort of. It can either be sort of pre or post event. Board decisions, it's quite rare actually. It's quite rare. I've been to a couple, but it's not commonplace.
Yeah, I just feel, even if it's from a speaking point of view or an extended speaking engagement, almost like a workshop, there's a lot of companies out there that need the creativity. They need that inspiration to brainstorm with someone like you, to make sure they end up with 50 great ideas after 3-4 hours that they could potentially use for that welcome back celebrity service experience.
The biggest, do you know what? When I do get invited in and when I go and work, organizations have some really detailed plans. Okay, some real great thick manuals of greatness, and yet within 5 minutes of being on stage, everybody in the room can get celebrity service in an instant. And that's the power of having something so simple, but something so memorable, and something that everybody can and be inspired to. And I tell stories, I share ideas, and I give people techniques to create that gap in the marketplace they've never ever had before. And quite often I will come into an organization that is not, it's great when you go into a startup business and you can create some real moments of magic and embed it from day one. But quite often, Reg, to answer your question, I go into an organization that already has these manuals and directors and executive directors of customer experience, and that's global, and it comes from Singapore, and but everybody latches onto celebrity service, which is what I love.
That's you. That's your brand. I want to share something with you. I did the other on our channel. For those of you watching, we have different show themes that we have around family business experts, next-gen entrepreneurs, family business billionaires, and also recently during the COVID-19 crisis, I created something called book videos, where I decided to go through my extensive library and find books that impacted me hugely 20, 30, 40 years ago, and rereading them, making notes and sharing. And Geoff, I wanted to share with you, the other day I did a book video on one of Zig Ziglar's books. Okay, I'm sure you know the name. And this was published in the early 1980s, a book called Top Performance. And for those of you watching, go on the channel, it's there. But I wanted to share this with you because on one of the pages, Zig has got an upside down pyramid. And he uses a case study in his own organization, the Ziglar Corporation, on how their hierarchy model works. And how it works is you've got Zig at the bottom of the pyramid as a chairman who reports into the leadership team. So he's responsible to them. Yeah. Leadership team is responsible then to the management team, who's responsible to the workforce. And you know what was at the top of the pyramid? Customers. Yeah, it was turned around, which is there is no business unless everybody is obsessed with the customer. I know you talk about that, but what other tips could you leave us with today on how we really create that right culture and that right experience to be obsessed with the customer? It's a bit like Jeff Bezos from Amazon. I read his first ever shareholders agreement letter sent out to all the shareholders, and it's very, very clear in there about his obsession with if you're gonna be employed in my organization and you're not obsessed with the customer all day, every day, you're in the wrong company.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on some of these things?
I want to share a couple of stories with you. And it's about more the internal customer. You know, if you've got a family-run business, you've got a larger organization, it's building the foundations. That's the first and foremost part of celebrity service. Building the foundations, creating celebrity service to our teams, for them to want to be greater inspired to deliver to our customers, our clients. I've already spoke about the idea of what Moneypenny did, and they asked all of their staff, what would you like to see in your brand new business? And they created and they delivered on so much of that. And they've created, for me, the happiest workforce in the world. So that is something that you can ask your staff right now in this period, and do it once every 6 months, because there'll be different staff coming in different ideas. There's also the looking at this time, welcome back strategy, and you can do this for a customer. Do this for a customer, but also one member of the team. Your organization, your group of directors, your managers, get together and offer and give and create a celebrity service moment for just one member of your organization, one person, right? One person. And one of the greatest examples I've seen, and this comes back to what you said about the people behind me, because I'm a bit of a Star Wars fan, Reg. So these are all original signed autographs, photographs. Carrie Fisher at the top there. That's like the ultimate one. So this is my thing. This is my thing. This is my collection. Okay. So I'm a big Star Wars fan. John Williams, right? One of the world's most famous composers, John Williams. So he wrote the music. He wrote the music of every Star Wars movie. Okay, iconic. But he also did Superman, he did Indiana Jones, he did Home Alone, he did Jaws, he did Schindler's List, he did Saving Private Ryan. He's done it all. So this incredible man, okay? So the Star Wars saga came to an end, right, of December of last year. So the 9 movies came to an end, and he's never appeared in any of the movies, but he did on that one. And they asked him, would you just play a part? And they said, what do you mean? He said, just, and he was on screen for no more than 2 seconds, but you knew it was him, okay? And his name was never mentioned in the movie, but it's there in the titles. His name is Omar Trez, which is an anagram of maestro.
Wow.
All right? The greatest thing I've ever seen a team. So what the crew did, the directors and the producers of the Star Wars movie, J.J. Abrams and all of the crew. So all of the crew making the props, making the set designers, they know that John Williams, he's been the glue that's held it all together. They know he's going to be on set and he's going to be featured in the movie, the very last movie. So what they did, so he stood up, and he has shelves behind him. And what the crew did is they created 51 models, ornaments, and every one of these 51 related to one of the 51 Academy Award nominations he got at the Oscars for all of his movies throughout all of his career.
Brilliant.
You can't see it, Reg. They don't pan across it and you don't see it. You go, oh, that's that. It's not for you and me. It's for him. And they wanted to create this amazing experience for him. So if you look at the documentary, there is the iron from Home Alone. And they built it. You can't see it, but it's for him. 51 award nominated, and that is how they created celebrity service for that one man who was the glue that held it all together. What did it cost? Effort, time.
Effort, time, bit of creativity, exactly.
Now that's a team delivering for one person. What about the team delivering for the entire workforce? That's a different, oh, should we give them an extra day holiday? Should we give them an extra pay rise? Should we do this? Shall we do that? Those are quite easy things to do, Rich, aren't they? Let's just put 10% on everybody's wage that month. It's quite it's a pro done,
yep.
And everybody's happy. One of the greatest things I've ever seen happened in January of this year. So in the UK, I spoke at the Swift conference in Hull on the east coast of Yorkshire in the northeast of England. And Swift are incredible British manufacturers and designers of caravans and motorhomes all over the world. Australia, Europe, all over the world, you'll see a Swift caravan or motorhome. And I spoke at their conference in the summer of last year, and I inspired, hopefully, the dealers to come up with their own celebrity service moments. And I give them the 120 challenge. This is 120 seconds to create a moment of magic. And I've done this since the day I started in business. The ideas you have from the 120 challenge will blow the competition out of the water, will put the biggest smile on your team's face. So it's called the 120 challenge. The team after the conference, Reg, went back and created a 120 challenge on how we can deliver celebrity service to the entire workforce at our next conference in January. So this is what happened. They asked me back. They rebooked me from that conference, not to speak to the dealers, but to speak to the team. 1,000 workforce strong. Went into the arena. The stage is a wonderful stage, fantastic. But the day before, Reg, I came for I went to do the slide deck and to do a sound check, and they put the mic on me. And Amy Archer, she turned to me and she said, "I hope you like what we've done to the beginning of the conference, Geoff, for the workforce, for the team." And I said, "What's that?" She said, "Oh, turn around." And I turned around, and the stage is there. This is in rehearsal, so nobody's there at the time. There were about 12 these dancers on the stage, limbering up, and then the music started. So when the music started, it started off with some 1960s Beatles music of the time. And on the screen, on the huge screen of the background, were pictures of the very first caravans that they created and they built. And the dancers were dancing to the 60s songs, and then the photographs were changing as they were going through time. Then we get into the 1970s. We've got a bit of Rolling Stones here, and we're dancing, and the pictures are changing. And then we go into the 1980s. So you can see it progressing. And slowly but surely, Reg, on the screen came the names of everybody who worked there, everybody who was going to be at the conference tomorrow. The marketing team had gone back and they said, "When did Reg start?" "Oh, he started on June the 9th, 2004. So when we get to the 2000s and the music continues, your name's coming on. It was stunning. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my conference career.
Yeah, can I ask you, first of all, thank you so much, because I can just imagine what it would be like to listen to you for a full hour on stage. Story after story, inspiring people, and I absolutely get that. That's how you make a difference to people. I'm curious to know whether you can answer this or not, but typically in some companies with the owners, the board of directors, they shy away from all of these things. It's like, it's a bit fluffy. It's a bit, they don't give HR, customer service, the focus that it requires. The budgets that it requires, the time that it requires. Why is that?
Oh, that fluffy. That's the second worst F word. Do you know that?
For today.
The word. Do you know anybody? Look, let's just be very general about this, Reg. Anybody in finance would go, "Oh, what? How?" The ideas I've spoke about today haven't cost anything.
That's right.
I haven't, okay? And there's one I want to leave you with before we go. It costs nothing, means the world, okay? That's all I'll say. Costs nothing, mean the world. Just about every story I talk about cost nothing means the world. But you were inspired by what you say and what you do and not what you spend. That's what people get from my talks. That's what people
say
get
that again. Say that once more.
We're going to have to record it.
You're inspired by what you...
Inspired by what you do and what you say, not what you spend.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Those ideas from the Swift with the names on the screen cost nothing. You know, what they did for John Williams didn't really cost much. What they did at Moneypenny, putting a name on a wall, didn't really cost much, but it meant the world. We're not talking about spending a crazy amount of money here. Let's go back to that fluffy word. This is important, right? It's a bit fluffy, this customer experience stuff. Really? I did a talk for Tesco Mobile, one of the biggest mobile companies in the United Kingdom. And 2 weeks after my talk, I got word from the CEO that their net promoter score had increased by 1.8 in 2 weeks. That's unheard of. Now, if that's fluffy, fine.
Yeah.
But those
So
are
what you're
just
saying is, so what you're saying is, on one side, for the finance guys out there, it doesn't have to cost a lot. But on the other side, from a measurable point of view, there's things that are measurable. You can actually measure this.
Absolutely. So I work a lot in hospitality. I did a tour of a brand new IHG brand called Voco at the beginning of the year. Okay, all of the UK hotels. They're in Australia, they're across Europe. They're phenomenal. They're wonderful, wonderful people. But it's a brand that, yeah, it's something else. They have something called guest love, and this is the feedback that they get. Okay. I'm just going to say this. Every single area of guest love in the customer feedback, in every single one, in every one of the hotels, in literally 1 month. 1 month. Say to the finance people in any organization, what would happen to your finances if everybody at the front end delivered a greater experience, and every customer, every passenger, every member, every client referred you, recommended you, wouldn't go anywhere else? That's the power of delivering a greater service. But let's inspire people to want to deliver a greater service, because, Reg, we can't keep talking about going the extra mile or exceeding expectations. This is boring. This is 40 years old. But when you say to somebody at any level, at any organization, what happens if that next customer were an A-list celebrity Hollywood star? What would you say? What would you do? How would you react? Because their answers will be the gap in the service you've never had before. And it's the gap that your competition, they can't touch you.
I love it. So you've got me inspired, because I feel I've got some work to do in our organization. I can't wait to sit with the team and start brainstorming some ideas. We're almost out of time, but in conclusion, if there was one last message you've got for the viewers on the audience, what would that be for today?
Oh, there's so much. I want to do this final story for you. And it's close to your home. It's very close to mine, actually, but it's closer to yours. My favorite airline is Emirates. Okay, I've worked with a lot of airlines, and I love it when you work with everybody with an airline, but Emirates is my favorite. I get collected from my home and I go to Newcastle Airport, and I often speak and do conferences in Australia and New Zealand. So it's a 7-hour flight to Dubai, and then a couple of hours, and then the next flight to Bali, and then the next flight.
Exactly, yeah.
And I love Emirates. I always have done. It just, they've never been late, Reg. That's not possible. They're always on time. It's a bit strange. I'm waiting. Anyhow, I was on this flight. Now, this is when things go wrong. And this is what I'm going to leave you with, okay? Because I think this is perfect for now. Perfect for now. In the COVID corona message that we're living now, when things go wrong, what can we do to put them right? And it comes down to character, and it comes down to heart, and always doing the right thing, costing nothing, meaning the world. I'm sat there. I'm ready to watch a movie. I've had my lovely meal. Everybody around me is settling down for a bit of a sleep, and the lights are dimmed. Everybody's got their TV on, watching the movies, and I'm flicking through. What shall I watch? And my screen froze. Just froze. That nothing. And so, okay, switch it back on, okay, and bing. So how can I help you? I said, the screen looks to be broken. So they did a Control Alt and Delete at 30,000 feet. I think that's what it's called. And it went off. 5
Was
minutes
that just
later,
your screen, or was that everybody on your row, or just yours?
Everybody else is watching latest movies. I'm like, oh, come on. It wouldn't work. Second time wouldn't work. And they were all apologetic. Said, we're so sorry, Mr. Ram. I said, look, it's no problem. It's only a movie. I've got another 2 flights after this. Don't worry about it. And they were really apologetic. Can we get you another drink? I said, no problem. I said, I'll read my book. So I put on my little light. Everybody else is watching movies or asleep now, and it's very dark in the cabin, and I'm reading my book. And after about half an hour, I heard giggling. Giggling, like children giggling. I was like, okay, that's odd. It's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night here now. And it went on and on and on. And I'm keep reading the book, and it got louder, and it would giggle. I thought, what is this? So I just undid my buckle, stood up, and it was right behind me because I was right next to the bulkhead. So it was right behind me, and the curtain's behind me. So I stood up, and I opened the curtain, and on the floor, 3 members of cabin crew and 2 little girls. And there was another 4th member of the cabin crew, a gentleman who was stood up, and I opened the curtain, and they were giggling. They were colouring in, playing games, snakes and ladders, playing with the cards, all of these things. They had this Emirates pack that they were doing, but they were all sat on the floor, right? And I said, oh. And the gentleman said, we're so sorry to disturb you. I said, not at all. I said, you never hear giggling on a plane. Unless you've watched Airplane, the movie in the 1980s. But you never hear giggling on a plane. I said, I've got 2 children myself. And I said, it's lovely. They said, oh, sorry. I said, you're not disturbing me. I said, is it okay if I just... And we started having a chat. And this is what had happened. And I found out from the staff. A member of cabin crew. I said, "Who are these? Your family? Are they sort of cousins or nieces or whatever?" She said, "Oh no, there's a passenger at the back, and she's a young mum. She's got a baby in her arms. She's travelling to Dubai with her 3 children. There's just her, these 2 children here, a baby in her arms, and of course the children are wanting to play. The hyper, they really wanting to play." And she said, the mother. So we said, should we take them to the area and we'll play with them? The mother was delighted. The children were delighted, and it was just wonderful, Reg. And
great story.
This is what Emirates produce, which I think is a stunning piece of marketing. It's a stunning piece of service, and it captures these memories. And I said to the staff, I said, do you mind if I take a photograph? And they said, what for? I said, I speak about customer experience all over the world. I want to talk about you all over the world. And I took a photograph. That's the 3 member of cabin crew there.
Yes.
But they have given me these. They were taking photographs of me with the staff. They put it in here, but they wrote, Reg, a personalised note to me, saying, sorry that the CPR on the screen didn't work. Hope it didn't affect your travel too much. Best wishes. That's all it took. When something goes wrong, see an opportunity to put something right. Something went wrong with the passenger at the back. She wasn't comfortable. She wasn't, she had a young baby. The staff saw an opportunity to help her. It was wonderful. It was one of those sliding doors moments, Reg, when if that movie had worked, I wouldn't have found out about that great experience. Whatever negative happens in life, find and spot a way to put a greater experience. They made a greater experience for that parent, for that children, and I'm now talking about Emirates, and this, Reg, is going to go into my brand new book, which will be coming out in 6 months' time.
And there you go. I think on that note, we'll finish on a high. Geoff, at 40,000 feet with that story. Okay, it's beautiful. I've got lots of insights from you today, around building relationships, come up with creative ideas, sometimes it's about the small stuff. I think that's definitely come up for me in your session today, that it's not about the big stuff. It's sometimes about the small stuff and getting that right. consistently, making sure that our employees are happy and we create a great culture, because that's going to pour into our customer relationships. And maybe that's the first step. I think for some people listening to this, maybe that's the first step. That's where we need to start to get
build the foundations
right.
Build the foundations right.
Yeah. So on that note, thank you very much for watching, viewers. Go down to the bottom to the description area. Make sure that you link, go into the link for Geoff's website. He's also got some great videos on YouTube as well, so make sure you watch those. And Geoff, I really want to thank you for your time today. Look forward to seeing you face to face at some point once we can get back on the Emirates flight and catch up over lunch or dinner or a few drinks. And on that note, thank you very much, Geoff.
Take care, my friend. Best wishes.